Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 810 for the 13th of May, or the situation report for the Ukraine war or the special military operation in Ukraine. I just want to let you know that this is recorded 1 hour after the Frontline Changes report has been published. So information from this point onward all the way to you seeing this video, new information may not be inside, because I can't really predict the future. Not can't really, I totally cannot predict the future. So don't complain, because yeah, but I had to record first, because if not later I have no energy to record. Then is a problem. So this is a situation report for yesterday. So don't complain about information from today is not inside, because it's the yesterday's summary of what happened yesterday. Am I clear? So, after the frontline changes report, there is actually one more frontline change that appeared. It's over at Kalinina. This is based on the geolocation, and it's very important because Russian forces have been geolocated inside Kalinina. And this means that the Russian forces have actually returned to Kalinina again and have captured grounds again. And this time around, they are on the, of course, eastern part of Kalinina again. So we will continue to monitor and see how this develops over the next situation, which the battle of Kalinina have restarted again. So we move on to the strategic and tactical reporting. And first thing first, there is a I thought there was a plane getting destroyed. That was yesterday. Yeah, confused. So this we go to the Kharkiv Front first. Over the Kharkiv Front, we go from the west to east. Again, we still have no information about Avdiivka. So I can kind of confidently say that this actually did not happen. The information that Ryba received over here is actually, Ryba actually received this information is probably inaccurate. So this information is probably invalidated, because totally no one talks about it. So this must not have happened. But that happens, that's intelligence for you. When you work in intel, you'll know that information sometimes get invalidated, and they're actually inaccurate. So we move into the Lipsy sector. So this is the Lipsy sector. At the Lipsy sector, the Russian forces have actually attacked and captured most of Klipoke, according to the Ukrainian side. Of course, based on the Russian information, the mapping have already shown them taking most of it. There is geolocation of Russian forces basically raising the flag around here, confirming that they do have presence there. In fact, probably even bigger than the Ukrainian mapping have alluded to. So there's also other geolocation of Russian forces over these few locations, basically forcing that the Ukrainian mapping to have to acknowledge that the Russians is already there. And based on the latest information from the Deep State UA, the pro-Ukrainian source reported Kupyansk has been captured by the Russian forces. So, but despite that, the pro-Russian sources have not acknowledged this. Ryba still reported that it's under Ukrainian control, and a counterattack has been reported over in this area here. So, otherwise, there are also information from Ryba talking about fighting in the outskirts of Lipsy, and I'm not sure how to interpret this. It could be a case where the Russians are here, or could be here or here, all are considered outskirts. So regardless, the Russians are currently trying to push towards Lipsy, and which is also why this is called the Lipsy sector of the front. However, reinforcement from the Ukrainian side has been reported to have arrived at Lipsy. So it's a mix of territorial defense and some units. So we shall continue to monitor and see how this progress. Ukrainians are definitely determined to hold this position, the front line, and not allow the Russians to expand this foothold further. Over the Nekushne sector, the Ukrainians have backtracked on their reporting based on their mapping. By Deep State UA, they claim that after the fog of war have lifted, they say that Zeleny is still under Ukrainian control. So I have put it under this, gave them a flag because it could be a recapture, because we do have information from Rybat about fighting around in this area here, and the Russian Defense Ministry did mention fighting over at Nekoshny. So which means that there is definitely some Russian attack in this area here. However, where the front line is now currently a question mark. We have no idea what's happening right here. The difference between the Russian and Ukrainian mapping is now widening. So we will continue to monitor and wait for more information to appear. Just west of Lipsy, there is a geolocation of a Grad multiple launch rocket system of the Ukrainians getting hit by a Lancet. So this is Russia, Ukrainians artillery trying to give support around 10-12 kilometers away. That makes sense. We move on to the Zaporizhzhia sector. At the Zaporizhzhia sector, Russian forces are still attacking Borovka as well as Zaporizhzhia. Information at Lipsitsky has not appeared. However, it's important to note, based on Ukrainian mapping, despite I put the Ukrainian mapping as rather different, you can see that the Ukrainians are the control is still quite big, but in terms of Ukrainian mapping, this area here is actually gray zone, so the Ukrainians actually do not know where the Russians are, and so which is somewhat of an acknowledgement that the Russians could be at Lipitsky, or there is fighting over there. So there are Russian presence, but it's not a firm control. So that's something to note. But otherwise, in terms of based on the information from the Russian defense, from the Ryba, the pro-Russian source, they said that the Russian forces are still trying to clear up the villages. It's still too early to talk about the capture. And the Ukrainian Defense Ministry acknowledged fighting over at the village of Zaporizhzhia. So the fighting over here is definitely confirmed right now. Over at the Voshchansk sector, there's some major changes, but before that, Okhiseve or Ogosovo, there is actually the flag raising over there, the Russian flags being raised over there, confirming Russian control over of this sector, this village. Over at the Voshchansk, Russian forces have captured everything north of this river. Around here, there's this river, this Vocha River, and the Russian forces have basically taken everything north of this river. And there is geolocation of Russian forces raising the flag in the middle of Voshchansk, signaling that the possibility of Russian forces taking almost half of Voshchansk, or if not the full half of it. Ukrainian forces are definitely in the region, still fighting against the Russian forces, because there is geolocation of a bridge getting destroyed, which signifies that the Russians are trying to impede the movement of the Ukrainian forces over in this area here. And there's a possibility too. The fact that they destroyed this bridge over here, over the Vovcha River, there's a possibility that the Russians actually just wanted to come all the way to here. They just wanted to take the northern half of this river, and that's the end of their operation. That's a possibility. So we are not sure, or they just want to keep this way. They just want to keep this bridge, and they just want to penetrate through this highway and use this area here as a defensive position to not allow the Ukrainian forces to attack. That is also a possibility. So there is various ways to interpret why the Russians are blowing certain bridges. Maybe they just want to stop. This is where they end the operation, or it could be just to move the Ukrainian defenders from one point to another to decide where they want to fight. That's also a possibility. So I think that's about it from the there's one more geolocation. There's a few more geolocations actually. So south of BE Kolozia, there is a Lancet strike on Ukrainian artillery. Just over at this Sihelne, there is another Ukrainian location getting struck by Russian artillery, and then the Lancet hit another Ukrainian artillery in the northeast of Simenivka. So there's a lot of strikes. The intensity of this offensive is still rather high, but again, I have to say I still not very convinced that the Russians are going to go far. I still feel like this is just a diversionary attempt, but it is a very serious looking diversion. But of course, if you want the diversion to really work, you need to look very serious. So we move on from the Kharkiv Front, we go into the Kherson Front. At the Kherson Front, fighting is reported at Kreminna, according to Rybar and the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. And Rybar actually reported interesting information, the Russian source, that in the island north of Cossack camps. Cossack camp is actually Kozachi Lahire, and the Russian forces seems to be fighting Ukrainian forces in this islands region. We are not sure currently. There's no footage or information about what the hell is happening, but they did report about it. So Russian forces are pushing Kreminna, and the fact that they are fighting in the islands is interesting. Because the Russian forces, like I mentioned in the previous information around 2 SITREPs ago, the Russian forces captured this island. Which is unusual because there's really no need to do that, but they did it anyway. So I wonder if this is a precursor or this is just a warning to the Ukrainians, or it could be the Russians are getting itchy about crossing the Kherson, the Dnipro River into the northern half of the Kherson. I'm not sure, but it's not an impossibility. So we shall continue to monitor. There is a geolocation of there's a counter artillery action in the northern part of Tiakhinka, Ukrainian artillery getting destroyed, and over at the Shivony Mayak, there's a Russian airstrike on Ukrainian position, and north of this location, over at the north of Milove, there is a viral video going around. Which is Ukrainian forces, Ukrainian drone operators. They laid out a lot of drones on the ground around their vehicle, and then it got spotted by Russian civilians drone, and then a cluster munition was launched at them, and it destroyed at least one of the vehicle. So we shall continue to monitor. There's one more geolocation over at Kisomis. There is a Russian airstrike on the Ukrainian position at Kizomis, and that's about it. Okay, that's it for the Kherson Front. I know you're not interested. Let's move on. Over at the Zaporizhzhia Front, at the Kharkiv sector, there is a Russian attack reported at Robotine region, as well as in the northwest of Verbove. Russian forces captured a bit more grounds in this area here in the northwest of Verbove, and the Ukrainians claim a bit more ground also further south of that location. But that's about it. Nothing very significant is happening around here. There is a geolocation just north of Novoandrievka, another Lancet hitting Ukrainian artillery, and this is getting a bit too common. The Russian drone operators, the drone force, is actively hunting for Ukrainian artillery, and this is going to hamper Ukrainian defensive efforts, because the Ukrainians are doing well in defending the Russians when their artillery is operating, particularly the good ones, the good artillery that is super accurate. But with this kind of thing happening, it's going to hamper the defense of the Ukrainians. Over at the there is actually here. Okay, so the Donetsk Front. At the Donetsk Front, there is a Russian Sukhoi 25 shot down over the Donetsk Oblast. Exactly where in the Donetsk Oblast is unsure, because Donetsk Oblast is actually huge. And across the Donetsk Front, the Russian forces continue their attack over at Staromayoske, Uruzhaine, over at Novomikhailivka towards Vodian, as well as the Battle of Krasnohorivka. So this is the current situation around here. Over at the Velika Novosilka sector, major developments over at Staromayoske. Russian forces have taken all the tree lines on the west of Staromayoske and has expanded control in the southern part of Staromayoske, while they are continuing to put pressure at Uruzhaine. And this is bad, because if you look in, if we zoom in, Russian forces taken more grounds in the south, and these areas here are pointless to defend, because if you get encircled, you are doomed. So the Russians will not push in this direction, because there is a river here as well. So unless the Russians try to cross the river, otherwise the defensive effort is going to be here. However, with the Russians taking all the tree lines around there, they can now attack into the rear position, into the northern part of Staromayoske, and with a pincer or a flanking attack, this is going to make defending extremely complicated. and it might trigger a withdrawal of the forces over on the eastern part, because they fear that the Russians may suddenly just overrun them and then they got encircled. So this is the situation at Staromayorsk. It's not looking very good. Over at the Velika Novosibirsk, there is another strike. This time around, it's a Lancet on another artillery. As I mentioned already, a lot of artillery is getting destroyed by the Lancets. This is very, very bad for the Ukrainian side because artillery systems are very precious. It's even more precious than the ammunition because they are already running low on ammunition, but now they are producing more and more ammunition, but they're not getting more and more artilleries. So all these artillery systems are very, very precious. We move on over at the Novomikhailivka region. Fighting reported in this region at Novomikhailivka and Vodian. Nothing much to update about this. We move on. Nothing at the Georgievka. At the Battle of Krasnohorivka, Russian forces expanded their control just by a little bit, taking a few more high-rise buildings in the center, just off the school, and then they are attacking to westward towards the northwest of Krasnohorivka. So the slow progress clearly shows that the Ukrainians are doing their best to defend. So this is the current situation at Krasnohorivka. So we move on over at the Avdiivka Front. At the Avdiivka Front, can I feed everything in? I can't. So okay, in the southern flank of the Avdiivka Front, Russian forces have success over this region here. They have finally closed up half of this salient over in the southern part of Pervomaisky. This signifies that Ukrainians have actually abandoned the position, but they're probably going to still stay and hold the defense line, but no, I'm not sure whether they will want to do that. Then the Russian forces are trying to storm towards in the direction of Yasnobrodivka and attack Umansky from the south. So we move here. So the Russian forces are geolocated in these two locations, and based on the footages, it looks like they are attacking through the fields. And I think the objective is to capture the junction, so that once they capture the junction, Ukrainian forces over here will be stranded. Russian forces can move in, and they will have a path moving north into the settlement itself and capture the rest of the settlement in a pincer. The fact that they can't do it, yeah, this is a thing, because the forces here got struck by FPV drones and whatnot. So it's going to be a tough going for the Ukrainians, for the Russians over here. We move on. In the northern half, the intensity of the fighting has reduced by a lot. However, the Russians are still trying to focus in this breakthrough zone. This is the PG. If you can see, this is a peak. Yeah, it's a peak over here. And it's like, it's looking for circle. Anyway, the PG wants to is now attacking north of Circle, and they are also attacking towards Novo Alexandrivka as well as Kalinove. But this is the current situation. However, not much developments around here. It looks like the Ukrainians have stabilized the defense. All the Russians are running out of steam, or they are going into operational pause. So whatever it is, the Ukrainians should take this opportunity to entrench and regroup and rebuild their defenses. And if not, then when the Russians have enough rest, it's going to be another dangerous time. There's nothing over the New York front. We move into the Bakhmut front. So this Bakhmut city, in the southern part of the Bakhmut front, Russian forces attack at Andriivka, Klishchiivka as usual, as well as in the region of Ivanytsky. Not much details are gathered around here. Over in the northern half, Russian forces are attacking over in Kharkiv, Kalinina, and Novi. So this is the current situation, and particularly for Novi and Kalinina, there is big developments. So Russian forces have entered into Novi again. This is geolocated, but however, not far. There is a TOS-1, the thermobaric missile strike over just ahead of the Russian forces. So they are putting pressure and are trying to clear out the Ukrainians through intense explosions to force them out while they push in. On Kalinina side, Russian forces are geolocated into the eastern part of Kalinina. So the battle of Kalinina begins again. This is round 2. round one, the Russian forces was kicked out, so the Russians are now trying again. So this is the current situation over at the Bakhmut Front. And we move into the Siversk Front. Over the Siversk Front, we still have the usual. The Siversk offensive is still ongoing. Russian forces attack at Bilohorivka, Verkhomokalyamsky, Spurny, Vimka, as well as Rozdolivka. So that's about it. Nothing new regarding this sector. We move into Kreminna. Kreminna Front, there is actually no much reports around here. We have Russians attacking Makiivka being mentioned. There is a geolocation of Russian forces getting hit by shelling in the area of Toske. In the Novovodyan region, Russian forces also was geolocated, including a turtle tank over in the Novovodyan region getting hit by the Ukrainians. We move into the Svatove Front. At the Svatove Front, we have Russian forces attacking at Novoyehorivka as well as Demakivka. So that's about it in the Svatove Front. We move into the Kupyansk Front. So there is Berestove as well. I usually can't decide if Berestove is part of the Svatove or the Kupyansk Front, but there is fighting at Berestove. Over in the northern part, Russian forces are attacking at Sinkivka and Petropavlivka. This is traditional. This is almost like a ritual thing. Pay no mind or pay no heed to it. Geolocation of Ukrainian forces getting destroyed. There's an infantry fighting vehicle just off Khyslivka getting destroyed. And the fact that this is happening means that the Ukrainians are trying to attack and try to push back the Russians in the Khyslivka region or to do fire attacks. So tentatively, the Russians seems to be very relaxed as usual. They are always so relaxed. They don't seem to take advantage of their advantage. But that is what it is. So that's about it. So this is the SITREP or the summary for the day of 810 for the 13th of May. Press the like button, subscribe. Like real, no, I'm not joking. Like you should subscribe. Like the subscribe numbers is very low as compared to the number of unsubscribed people watching. So if you watch to this point and you're not subscribed, I don't know what you're waiting for. Drop the TOS 1A on the like button and the subscribe button. Just whack it, destroy it. And I'll see you guys in the next update.